there is a real tension between the wonderful opportunity and responsibility that we have within the BGE curriculum to report our professional judgment when we're saying about achievement of a level. That's a wonderful opportunity. But there's a tension there because how confident are we in that decision? And that's been in the press with the Highland Council have really called that into question, saying there's issues there. We're meant to be looking for validity and reliability, but how do we get that? There are many factors at play. Now, what I'm proposing as part of our assessment approach is that we think about these three elements of assessment as a theory, as a concept. We bring our own beliefs into the mix. We can't help it. We bring our own experience as a teacher, as a learner. We bring our own values. We bring our own feelings and emotions to that moment in time when we're making that judgment of have they achieved the level or not. We can't help it. We're human beings. We can't help but bring in that kind of conscious or unconscious bias. So on the screen there, you can see a number of things from research have been shown to either consciously or unconsciously create a bias in teacher judgments. Some of them are pretty obvious. Some of them are less so. I think the one personality similarity is really interesting. Those young people who are more like us, we can't help but want to do well. And sometimes we have that unconscious bias where there are children who aren't doing well, but we so want them to do so. These are good things, but they don't help with the validity and reliability of the professional judgment. So we need to do something about it. And the whole moderation process is meant to support that and counter some of those biases. Now, for moderation and achievement of a level to be genuinely valid and reliable, you're looking for three things to exist. You're looking for consistency about judgment and inference. So for people A, B, and C, a consistent approach. You're looking for comparability in the evidence that's gathered, that's showing a kind of evidence of achievement of a level against set benchmarks. And you're looking for equity, so that all pupils have had the same opportunity to demonstrate the knowledge, the understanding, the skills that are to be judged. Consistency, comparability, and equity are all important ingredients. Now we know that, and that's great, but how do we achieve it? Because life is busy. What I'm proposing today is that we look at a tool, and it is just a tool, that's it's called Comparative Judgement. And what I'm going to share very quickly is a very brief video that demonstrates the theory behind comparative judgment. And the basic principle is you are going to be asked as teachers to decide to compare two pieces of writing, and your decision is which one is better. You're not trying to mark it against criteria. You're trying to decide which one is better. Let me share this very brief video. This one is a video that is about color, trying to make a decision about a color by making a comparison between two. So hoping that this is going to work for you. Very brief video. You will hear my voice.
When we're trying to make a judgment, we need to make an absolute judgment. So here, for example, is a nice color matching test. So we've got the paint colors, samples 1 to 8, and I've got to memorize them. Here we go. I'm now going to start the test. Based on those numbers, I now need to look at that color and give it a score 1 to 8. I'm going to go with a 6 for that. This new one, probably a 2. That's quite dark. I'm going to go for an 8. That's a bit lighter, probably 7. That's darker again, so it's probably an 8. Oh, that's a really light one. I'm going to go for a 1. Bit darker, 2. Oh, a bit darker, 3. I only got 3 out of 8 of those right because I was making that absolute judgment. I had nothing to compare it to. Let's try the same by comparing. So same job, I've got to try and put give the right score, but this time I get to compare. So click on the darker one, that's darker. It's in speed up mode, and over the course of 25 decisions, down the bottom, you can see the colors sorting and shifting into the correct order. each time I click on the darker color, I'm making a judgment. I've managed to put those colors in the right order. I now can confidently see that the lighter through to the darker is in the right order. I made a simple comparative decision between two colors.
So that was a very brief demonstration of how this works as an idea.
When we're trying to make...
Here we go. Now that was about colors, but the principle is the same when we're looking at student work. If we have to take 8 pieces of student writing and assign them a judgment against criteria, we as humans are not good at that. It's just been proven. We're not good at making absolute decisions, but we are very good at making comparisons, as has been proven there with a color. I can make a judgment about which one is lighter, which one is darker. And that's how the comparative judgment works. Now, I'm going to invite you to have a go at it today. It's really straightforward and it's a sample. It's just a little experiment for you to have a go at. Now, I'm going to put into the chat, and if I can just get it, I'm going to put into the chat a link, but also there's a QR code there. Now, that QR code and that link is going to give you the option to start making some judgments, some comparative judgments about real pupil writing. I'm going to ask you, it's very, very simple. You are going to be asked just to enter an email address into the system. All that does is make sure that you'll become a unique judge. I will delete all of these, by the way, at the end of this session. So please follow that link in the chat or use the QR code. And you will be asked to simply put in your email address, and then it says, are you ready to start judging? And all you're going to do is look at this 2 pieces of writing that will come up on your screen. There'll be one on the left, one on the right. All you're going to do is read through, and you don't have to spend long doing it, because as teachers, we know what good looks like. And all you're going to do is click on either the left button, so you've got the left here, or the right. Which one is better? That's the question. Choose the better script. I'm just going to ask you to stop now, and we've now got a sufficient number of judgments that have been made. So I'm just going to share a few stats with you and what you have just been involved in. So about, was it 7 minutes ago, I set you that task. So there are 48 of you that have signed up just now to join in that session. And you've all taken part in, you were assigned 8 judgments, some of you did 9. That meant that we completed just shy of 360 judgments is what we were aiming to make. We actually completed 267 because I said we could stop. 267 individual decisions were made about the quality of learners' writing just then. And we got a reliability score of 0.74. Now, 0.74, you might think, well, that's not very high, but actually, we know that that's very good. Now, the data on here is not live data. I can't do that right now. There's not enough time. But you can see here that down the bottom, if anything that is above a 0.65 reliability is completely acceptable. Anything that is above 0.78 is really good. And we got close to that with 0.74. But 0.65 is what you're looking for, anything above it. Now, we can also tell from the data of how consistent our judgments were and our decisions were. And that's really helpful as well, because what we want to know is, are we all making similar decisions? And we know that from when I look at the session now, we've got a really high level of consistency, because anything that's up to a 1 is, in terms of an individual judge making a decision, is really, really good. So 0 up to a 1, just over 1 is still fine. Anything outside of 1 and above, then we've got some questions there. But I'm looking at the data here, and we've got a really good consistency coming through from your judgments. So that's great. As I said, the slide that you're seeing isn't the live data. I can't manipulate that in the time that I've got. And then what we are able to do is we can have a look at the results from what you've just shared. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen just now, and I'm going to show you what the live data has then done for us. Okay, so bear with me 1 second, and I'm just going to share the actual results from what you've just done. This is what you would see and be able to work with as a teacher when you're thinking about the work that has taken place. So right now, what you should be able to see, hopefully, we've got lots of pupil work here. Okay, and these are the students that you have just been marking. And basically, what it's done, a bit like with the paint, you all made a decision which one's better. And all those decisions, we made just 260 decisions. All of those decisions shuffled the writing in an order. And it's ended up with those towards the lower end, which maybe we didn't think were as good, going up to the other end, which we did think was as good. And it's ordered them for us. So now when I click on the data here, we've now got here, and it's given it a scaled score between 0 and right the way up to 100. And we now can see the one that, based on, like the color, the one that was deemed to be the best piece of writing overall, based on the number of people who made that decision. And then at the bottom end, the maybe not as good. So I'm going to click on it here just so you can see. And this, just based on what we've just done, here we go, right? So that was the piece of writing that was deemed to be the best piece of writing that we read and looked at this afternoon. Okay, I'll just close that one. And then let's go for something in the middle. I'm going to go for something that came up around 50. There we go. I'm going to go for 49. Here is an example of a piece of writing that was deemed to be roughly in the middle, according to individuals who were looking at the judgments that were made. And then we'll just go and have a look down the other end of the scale. Down here, we had one that was, based on our decisions, was not the best piece of writing out of all of those that were shared. Okay, so it started to rank them. Now, that took us 7 minutes. I know it was just a test, but what we've then got, we've got real live collective decisions about the quality of writing. And we can start to use that to boost our professional judgment about achievement of a level. So what we can then do using that data and working with the No More Marking team, I just need to swap windows, so bear with me. Thank you for your patience. What we can then do, the No More Marking team can take that information and they can help us use the scaled score, and you've got the SNSA scales. And this, for example, is from last year. So our primary 7 writers in a number of schools, they did their writing and it was matched against benchmarks, the bands on the SNSA. And here in the middle is the pink. That is the normative distribution of primary 7 writers across Scotland. And the blue line is how our writers performed. So roughly in line, but actually slightly below the national average for our primary 7s. But it's also really nice is the data that comes out. It then gives us a writing age, which is very interesting. So it gives us something, and that's a standardized writing age at an international scale. This is data that's been taken from the USA, from Australia, from Singapore, international scale, and it helps us see in the writing age where our pupils are. So that gives us something really tangible to hook some of our decisions on. It is not the decision, it is just a piece of the puzzle, and that's really important. This is not the data, it is a piece of the puzzle. But every teacher who's been involved that I've spoken to has said it has really helped solidify their thinking or challenge their thinking in a positive way.